villain, which is a key win condition in one of his decks. And then, getting that sort of unfortunate sequences of draws in the last matchup where Malagos and Emperor Thorsan were his last 2 cards. So in Freeze Mage, Reno Malagos Freeze Mage. So we'll see if Neirea can turn it around. Now, Neirea's decks are not exactly the same. He does have the Miracle Priest, but the rest of his lineups are more like sort of well-rounded. They're not full combo, but he does seem like he's still trying to somewhat target these very heavy control decks. Xixo, on the other hand, has the exact same decks as Kranich. They said they prepared together while they were at DreamHack Austin, and their decks team almost card for card identical.
Yeah, so it's only fitting that they get a mirror match, right? That they have to play each other. Is that the way it always is when you prepare with like one person for an event? You always end up playing them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so this is going to be the Shaman deck. This is one of the Xixo specials.
Oh yeah.
Mid-range Shaman deck. A lot of people have been running it. Xixo took it to rank 1 Legend, I think, at least early on in the season.
And the most interesting card in the deck is in his opening hand already.
Primal Fusion.
Do you see him bluff the Rockbiter weapon there? He actually took the Primal Fusion and targeted his face with it. Yeah, maybe trying to get into Neirea's head a little bit there. Like the play from Xixo. And then he actually draws Rockbiter weapon, so...
the thing is, it's not really a bluff. He bluffed a card that he just ended up drawing, but yeah, that's sometimes those plays can be a little bit next level. But this is going to mean that Xixo can completely trade off the board, which is going to sort of reset everything, put him in a good spot moving forward. And Neirea's hand is awkward. Flame Imp though.
Yeah, one of the better draws there. You see Xixo gives him the wow there. Really important to keep the board away from Zoo. They're very good at keeping the board once they have it and steamrolling you from there. Also, pretty important to play around cards like Defender of Argus. So, yeah, if you can keep minions off the board and they only get a tiny bit of value off of it, you got to feel like you're getting kind of ahead.
This is a good trade. He's able to Primal Fusion for 2 and trade in while still preserving his Flame Totem. And he actually opts to use his Hero Power instead of Totem Golem. Hero Power can be really beneficial in most matchups. This matchup's not so much since it's a little bit about the board, but Xixo does decide to go for it, maybe to trade up with Flame Tongue, realize that he doesn't quite need 5 power. Maybe with a Councilman it could be beneficial, but I guess right now he realizes he has a Thunderblood Valiant in his hand. Oh!
It feels bad, man. This play never feels good, but it's one of the ones you have to make. Sometimes you just have to get something into play here, and you can't just let Xixo just have free reign over the next turn, because then you'll just never win.
4-mana 2/3 that doesn't juggle.
Yeah, and this is kind of why he made that play last turn. He wanted to be able to play 2 things on turn 4. It gives him the most options for next turn as well. So, that's why you saw the sequencing. And again, Neirea taps into one of the best possible cards for him here, but this is just going to get run over as well.
Yep.
He can even use the evolution here to kind of heal up his minion. Jeez. This draw from Xixo. Oh, pirate sighting. I don't know if Neirea can get out of this. I don't like to call him early, but I'm calling this one early.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got lethal looking at him at this turn, and Neirea just goes ahead and concedes that quickly. Xixo takes a 1-0 lead.
For as long and drawn out as our matches felt yesterday, like we had some real long ones. I think we had a 2-hour match yesterday. We have had some quick ones today.
Yeah. Yesterday we went into the last match with about 7 hours down. Today we went into the last match with about 4.5 hours down.
Yep.
So that's a difference of 2.5 hours between over the course of 4 best of 7s. The difference between yesterday, and we even had a 3-4 today, which is what happened yesterday. It's just today the matchups lined up a bit differently. And we're going to move into this matchup, and this is the interesting deck that we talked about, and this is the matchup that I'm sure Neirea was hoping for. He's playing this priest, which is sort of an OTK priest. His is a little bit different from Amnesia X, though. He does run Holy Fire as well, which is sort of, a little bit extra sort of removal / damage. But I don't know where the differences lie in Amnesia X deck, like what the card differences
Holy
are.
Smite. Yeah, that's like one of the cards I think is a flex slot. And why don't you tell people at home, why is it important that this deck runs into this Paladin deck? that this Miracle Priest deck gets this matchup.
Yeah, well, this is it's the matchup that you're sort of targeting it at. Now, what this does do is, sort of gets the Priest win out of the way if he does win, which means that Xixo's sort of free to take wins elsewhere. And he started off 1-0. But, this is sort of what the Priest deck was designed to do is punish these ultra-heavy control decks.
Yeah, Stampeding Kodo getting some value like usual. My favorite card, you may have heard me talk about this the last couple days, but I'm just loving the fact that they're working out this way. And puts a Power Word Shield on a Stampeding Kodo here, because he's going to be able to Shadow Word Paint it. So make sure to not give any value over to Xixo this turn. And he gets the full clear here along with this Wild Pyromancer.
These guys play so quickly. Everybody today has been playing so quickly. I think Stan was probably the fastest player. Like he had his plays lined up even before his opponent was finished with their turn.
His card would be like half out of his hand, ready to go.
Yeah.
And this is something funny. Every time I watch this Paladin deck, it feels to me like in most of their matchups, they're using Elder Peacekeepers to gain a few life because they're neutering their opponent's minion before they attack it with a weapon. And it's like they just have so many humility effects that like they can just throw away like the first one or two pretty much.
Yeah, you have to sort of have a lot of respect for this deck and its damage output.
Ooh.
He doesn't quite have enough.
Yeah, this isn't the exact Emperor Thorson hand you want, but he has a lot of the pieces. He has Prophet Valen, the most important one, a Flash Heal, and a Mind
Mind Blast.
A Mind Blast. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of cough over here. I need to kind of clear my throat a little bit.
Yeah, but he still needs a couple more pieces to make the combo. We saw the full combo earlier on with Amnesiac's game, where he Prophet Velen, double Mind Blast, Embrace the Shadows, Flash Heal. That's a full 10 mana combo with Emperor Thorsan with all pieces reduced, and that costs with all pieces reduced but one, and that costs 10 mana and does 30 damage.
Yep,
exactly 30.
It's kind of important to have that potential in your deck here because this Paladin deck is gonna hover around 30 life for almost the entire game. And that's why this Priest deck is so good in this matchup. It doesn't matter what life total you're at, as long as you're not a warrior and gaining a lot of armor, it's gonna have an out to kill you.
Yeah.
Pretty good looking Excavated Evil turn. You can follow it up with an Acolyte of Pain. You can even put an Acolyte of Pain into play if you just want to cycle a card here.
Just sacrifice it.
Yeah, it's
for a card.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking for lethal stuff here. He knows what he's looking for. It's better than just playing it afterwards and getting it Stampeding Kodoed and not getting a card from it. Or, having Xixo just play Doomsayer.
Put your faith in the light.
Well, Xixo's going to put his faith in the light here.
And will he be able to pressure enough?
Azure Drake's another difference between the two decks that we've seen here.
So Holy Fire is Azure Drake's. It doesn't seem like he runs Holy Smite.
Yeah, maybe he has a little bit of less raw card draw. Like he might not have...
Maybe no Blood Mage Thanos.
Yeah, no Blood Mage Thanos, yeah. Maybe Blood Mage Thanos might actually... I'm trying to think if it's a little bit better. It doesn't give you a 4/4 body, but it doesn't give you a card right away, but it's only a 2-mana spell. So if you need it for, the extra damage or whatever. Also, there's no Cold Light Oracles as well, just like Amnesiac had.
That seemed like a pretty flexible tool for Amnesiac, but it also put him into some rough situations.
Yeah.
He ended up overdrawing himself in one game, which ended up being a crucial error. But he was also able to mill his opponents some crucial cards in some of the matchups. So now he's in a tough spot. He does have ways to clear this board. He could have organized Soul Priest, Circle of Healing, and Flash Healed in order to take out the Ragnaros Light Lord, and then Hero Powered to take out the Tyrion. But that would have used one of the pieces that he would need for this combo.
Yeah, I think Neirea's still trying to hold on hope to, get this combo off. Plus, Excavated Evil can, clean up the rest of Tyrion here if Xixo doesn't just trade in himself. I mean, you almost want Xixo. Well, I guess Forbidden Healing, it doesn't matter because as long as he's around 30, you can still kill him. But you almost want him to use heals on his Tyrion here because then you can start maybe picking away the life total and you don't have to find all of the pieces of the combo to get it done.
Yeah. Well, Excavated Evil lines up pretty well, and he can just reload the board with some loot orders.
Yeah. Mind if I roll need? Don't mind if I do. Get a couple extra cards here. Try to find these last few cards to finish this off. Yeah, with these cards reduced too, he still has the chance to do the 30-point damage in one turn as well.
Reporting for duty.
Xixo's going to add a little bit of pressure here, though. Ashbringer plus these 2 1/1s every turn can get some work done. Ooh, Wild Pyramids are not a terrible one. Wild Pyramids plus Holy Fire can clear the board here.
But then he still needs some more pieces left, and he's not really finding anything. Holy Fire will buy him some time. He's got Organized Soul Priest plus Circle of Healing to also buy him some time.
Xixo needs to draw the Fire Lord here. That would be one of the better ones. And Excavated Evil, one of the worst draws in his deck for sure.
Yeah. So still needs that second Mind Blast and still needs the Embrace the Shadows in order to piece together this 30 damage combination. Shadow Word Death is not that, but it is a good tool to deal with the Ragnaros if it's the second Ragnaros, the Fire Lord, if it's to come down.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing to have in Neirea's back pocket here. It's like a worst case scenario card here. Is that an Outdoor Peacekeeper off the top here?
Looks like
Xixo can take a little less damage for trading in his Ashbringer attack here.
This matchup still just feels like you're waiting to die, though. And now Xixo's board is full.
Yeah, this Alkanai Soul Priest Circle of Healing is pretty good on this board.
Yeah, he would just Wild Pyromancer and anything. Okay, we're getting closer.
Yeah, obviously he's got so many different ways to take care of this board.
Oh, wait a second. He actually won't have enough mana to deal the full combo. Because Prophet Velen plus Mind Blast plus 1 mana Mind Blast is 9 mana. He would need an extra mana for Embrace the Shadow plus Flash Heal. So, I guess he could, if he draws into Embrace the Shadow, and does he still have 1 Flash Heal remaining? No, he doesn't, because he used 1 to kill Ragnaros the Light Lord.
Yeah, we talked about in these matchups, you have to be like pretty greedy with your Emperor Thorisons too. You have to get the right hands discounted. You can't just, throw it out there on turn 6 every game, even if you have a full hand.
So a little bit of a window then. Because I think Neirea's going to need multiple turns in order to close this one out.
Yeah, he has that Forbidden Healing in his hand. That's worth up to 20 points of health here. And I don't know if Neirea, if he has to give him 2 turns, I don't know if Neirea can do that much damage.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah. It's almost impossible to remove, so you're going to take at least that 4 damage every turn. Pass. He's just trying to wait. There's
Reporting for duty.
yeah.
Card can clean up a lot of these 1/1s, but this Kieran and this True Silver Champion just keep pecking away.
Yeah. Neirea's at 15. There's take at least that 4 damage every turn. Pass. He's just trying to wait. But he's going to use the second Flash Heal. So Prophet Velen plus Embrace the Shadows plus the 1 mana Mind Blast plus 5.
Card can clean up a lot of these 1/1s, but this Kieran
on a different plan. I don't know what the last cards in his deck are. He might be able to win. Neirea's at 15. There's 20 that he would need to piece together to make this the full.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it too. Yeah. Xixo can go back up to 30 this turn with this True Silver Champion attack too. And as we said, this is going to be the life total he's going to stay at pretty much the end. He can't win anymore.
Maybe he miscounted.
Heal, Flash Heal, Prophet Valen, Embrace the Shadows. Mind Blast was still lethal. I think he just realized what you said the turn before, that he may have given away. He can't win anymore.
Maybe he miscounted.
Heal, Flash Heal, Prophet Valen, Embrace the Shadows. Mind Blast was still lethal. I think he just realized what you said the turn before, that he may have given away.
Velen. Nope, he can't. He just can't win. He knows that there's going to be a Forbidden Healing in there, and he knows that he's only got 2 turns before he's dead himself. So, Neirea, crucial errors in that match, and that's going to give up a match that he should have won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is why he's playing that deck, is for that matchup right there. And Xixo doesn't have to play that Paladin deck anymore, so he can't get that matchup ever again. So definitely a big misstep from Neirea here. There, it's kind of just a throwaway. It is almost a gimme.
Bring victory.
Yeah. All right. Well, he's going to throw out the deck again. This time it is going to be against the Reno combo N'Zoth Warlock.
We need to add at least one more word into that deck.
Reno combo N'Zoth Cult Apothecary Warlock.
Combo.
I said combo.
Right. Yeah, combo twice though, because it's 2 different combos.
Oh yeah, because the old Leroy Jenkins Cult Apothecary combo.
Oh yeah, which we saw today.
The old turn 10 deal 6, heal 6.
Sounds good to me.
You'd heal 4 unless it was another minion, but heal 6, deal 6 sounds a lot better. It just rolls off the tongue.
Oh yeah.
Well, I still think this is a decent matchup for Neirea. He's got a lot more cycle, but it's a lot worse of a matchup because Xixo also is sort of racing to a combo. This isn't the N'Zoth Paladin where he has to rely on, brute forcing the damage through with like semi-bulky minions. He actually has a way to finish the game. He actually has a reliable win condition. It's like, who can get there first?
Yeah, some pretty useless cards here. Definitely going to take the Soulfire, but we're going to get a second shot at this, and possibly Abusive Sergeant, just some more damage here. I don't know if you want 2 Soulfires.
2 Soulfires.
You never go full Soulfire. I don't know. I mean, like, is there ever something you want a Corruption? I don't think so. Yeah, I think Abusive Sergeant is just the best pull here. He can use it this turn if he wants, but yeah, I like fitting in another life tap and attacking here. Brian has already got his value. You don't need to worry about it too much.
Yeah, he just needed to make sure that he wasn't going to overdraw.
Mm-hmm.
And he does have 9 cards, so he will have plenty of room in his hand going into the next turn. Not really too much to play here. Cult Apothecary, heal him back up to full health, and he could trade in. Pretty much the only minion that he has that he can throw onto the board.
Yeah, get a 4/4 here, get some value. I like it. It's also getting to the point where Neirea needs to start getting cards out of his hand.
Yeah.
Gonna go ahead and just use his hero power along with Alchemist Soul Priest and Gnomish Inventor here to take care of this Cult Apothecary and leave himself with the only minion left on board. Does Xixo have a clean answer to this? Hey man, just tempo Reno, let's go.
He just doesn't have much. He can throw down the Doomsayer, but there's only like 2 points of damage needed to clear this off, or Shadowward Pain. I mean, I guess it's kind of tough to deal with. You're trying to force Neirea to use some of these combo pieces liberally, exactly like he did last time. There's Emperor Thorsan, but Neirea's going to make sure that he's very careful with how he uses this. At the moment, he only has a single card, which is using that combo. So he's still going to need to hold on to that Emperor for quite a long time now.
Yeah, he's going to heal Xixo's face, dealing 2 damage to him, and pass here. Well, I mean, all the ways that he has to clear the Doomsayer there are all pretty bad. So definitely like this play from him. And ooh, a Mountain Giant, very welcome addition to Xixo here. But there are 2 Shadow Word deaths on the other side of the board waiting to take care of that giant minion.
Yes, there is. And even Power Wood Shield and Wild Pyromancer to clear off the Acidic Swamp Ooze as well. Nice clean turn.
Yeah, taking care of everything from Xixo. Just make sure that his life total stays high, doesn't stay under pressure. Doesn't want to get into that range of some. You never want to just lose a game to the Leroy Jackson combo here when you have just so much heal in your deck.
Leroy Jackson.
Yep.
Heal for 6, deal for 6.
Yep. That's the new name of this deck is Leroy Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out a way that Xixo can get the max amount of pressure here. I guess it's like King Boss Defender of Argus, but that doesn't feel very good. I mean, if you Soulfire here, there's a couple cards that are really bad that come out of your hand. Reno, whew.
Wow.
My shield.
Reno Jackson out of Xixo's hand there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when your opponent's dealing 30 damage with their combo, it doesn't matter too much, but this just puts him so much closer, all the time. Because now he's not going to be able to heal up after he taps and starts looking for these cards, which means, Neirea needs less pieces in order to finish off this game.
You could be at like one full less card total, and that's a lot easier to combo together.
Yeah.
And Neirea's going to be actually kind of greedy with his Emperor Thorson in this game like he needs to be, but he actually can't find... I mean, this is not the hand that you want Emperor Thorson. He needs to start getting these cards out of his hand. These Holy Fires are going to start getting fired off soon.
Yeah.
Piece of Sergeant from the Dark Pillar are going to be... let a good trade happen here on this Azure Drake. Another minion you can't let just sit around for too long. There's another piece to what's going on here.
So 3 pieces total now. I think he's going to be looking... Yeah, I think he's going to be looking for 4 total pieces where he plays that. Where he plays the Emperor Thorson. And maybe just looking for an emptier board. Because right now he'd reduce the Mind Blast, he'd reduce the Prophet Valen, and then he'd also reduce the Embrace the Shadows. Which would mean that would be enough, because then just Flash Heal and, double Flash Heal would be enough.
Has Xixo played a Death Rattle minion yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so Nizalt doesn't get anything back. So he can't actually apply too much pressure to Neirea yet.
Just a good old 10 mana 5/7.
That's a lot to pay for a 5/7.
Yeah.
Neirea finding a lot of cycle cards here in the late game.
That's what he needs. When 20 of your cards are cycle cards, it feels like sometimes.
Gives Xixo a decent Spellbreaker target, allows him to just get this minion in play. I think he's very welcoming the sight of anything that lets him play this 4/3.
Well, now there's going to be a Death Rattle minion that's dead that Nizalt is going to bring back, but it's not ideal.
Let's bring back a 6/6 though. I mean, yeah, you give a little bit of life over to Neirea, but I mean, you'll take anything you can get here. I think just to, I mean, any value is okay here. Yeah, I was gonna say I feel he's gonna slam this Nizalt, just because a 5/7 and a 6/6 for 10 mana. I mean, I'll take it in this matchup.
All right.
Oh, and there's a Flash Heal, and this game is about to come to a quick close here over the next turn or two.
He still needs one more piece. Right now, he just has the Mind Blast plus the Flash Heal.
He's got 20. Yeah.
But Xixo is down to 24 health now, so one more piece will do it. I mean, even if Xixo taps 6, 7, 8, he would have enough mana to fit into Hero Power as well.
Well, yeah, he's probably gonna Siphon Soul this Emperor most likely, unless he's gonna do something like Faceless Manipulator it trade. Because he does have the Leroy Jenkins Faceless Manipulator Power Overwhelming in his hand already. There's Alexstrasza.
Oh, you can Alexstrasza, and you can't attack in because that's a little bit. You can't leave anything up.
if you leave something up, you're going to die to the combo from Neirea, so you have to trade into Emperor this turn, or Siphon Soul it.
I mean, I think this is going to be Xixo's only window in order to do this, because he knows that both Shadow or Deaths are gone, so Neirea would have to answer the Alexstrasza. Maybe he feels like he'll be dead, but since Neirea just whipped out that Emperor Thorsan last turn.
Yeah, I really like trade Alexstrasza. I really do.
Maybe not even trade Alexstrasza. No, I'll trade Alexstrasza, because if you don't trade, then you'd get punished by Excavated Evil. But he just goes ahead and Siphon Souls.
Yeah, playing a little safe.
Hmm.
He's going to fit in this Holy Fire while he can. Get him a little bit lower here.
Well, 22
set
is
up for that turn, yeah.
22 is the exact number of damage that he can deal with that full combo. So, and it looks like, yeah, that is going to be it. I mean, he would have won the game. He would have won the game if he had Alexstrasza the last turn, but that's a really tough call to make. I wouldn't even call that a mistake. I would just say that, you know, that's just a tough call to make, because you don't know the other hand. But that's going to be Neirea. Finally managed to take a win with this Miracle Priest, and he's going to put himself on the board. So it's going to be 2-1 now in the series.
Yeah, I got to feel a little better after feeling like he may have thrown a game away earlier in the series. Picking up this win here, and you know, this is what you alluded to. This is the power of bringing this deck to this format right now. It just has so many good matchups versus, you know, these standard decks that are going on right now. You know, these Reno lock decks and these N'Zoth Paladin decks. I mean, any of these N'Zoth decks that are just super slow and made to grind out. Any deck that can kill you in one turn has to be have a big advantage, because these N'Zoth decks just can't pressure you. You saw Xixo was looking for any way to just attack Neirea in that game, and he couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Xixo still has that Reno Warlock left, the Leroy Jackson deck.
Leroy Jackson, yep.
Leroy Jackson.
Okay, I like it.
And also his own priest deck, which is just a N'Zoth priest. Yeah. That we saw from Kranich as well.
Yeah, the two strongest N'Zoth decks that people have found so far, the Paladin, the priest version. A lot of pros have been liking both of those versions of the deck a lot here early in Standard.
Because both of those decks have sort of the most control tools and also the most healing available to be able to get to a stage where they can actively play N'Zoth. They also have access to some strong class Death Rattle minions with Tyrion for Paladin, and of course like Shifting Shade for Museum Curator just in general for Priest. Because it adds a Death Rattle and adds flexibility.
Yeah, big fan of the infinite Shifting Shade value that seems to always happen on these Priest decks.
Yeah, or the ability to get two Sylvanas, or super impactful cards like that. The ability to get a Karen, but the ability to choose whether or not you even need a Karen in that matchup, sort of thing. So the Priest deck I think has a lot of flexibility, but as we've seen with Priest in the past, it does suffer from some inconsistencies with the draws. Sometimes you draw into pieces of removal combos, and sometimes you just get rolled over if you don't have the right answers to the board in front of you. So
seems like Priest in a nutshell at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly right.
I don't know if I'll ever get Golden Priest. I have brought it to tournament settings before and done very well with it, but it's in a well-defined meta at certain times. Like, I was a big advocate of Dragon Priest for a small amount of time there. I thought it was actually just like one of the best decks at one point in time versus what a lot of people were bringing. And I was pretty lucky. I always drew the 1 and 2 drops. There are definitely some games where your curve starts at 4 and you're practically dead already.
Yeah. And there were a lot of players that were sort of in a similar boat as well. I know, speaking to a lot of players and talking about their predictions for what decks would be strong going into Standard and Whispers of the Old Gods, a lot of players said Dragon Priest is going to be in a really good spot. And I know to like one of the first couple of tournaments that used Standard, there was a lot of players that brought Dragon Priest that didn't have very much success because they just got rolled over by some of the more consistent decks.
Mm-hmm.
I think people were thinking that aggro was going to be really strong, so and Dragon Priest tends to do well against aggro because of their overly setted minions early on in the game. But then Shaman came out, and it turns out Twilight Guardian doesn't match up too well with a Flame Wreath Faceless. So,
yeah, the old 7/7 on turn 3 or 4 is pretty powerful if it turns out against decks that have a bunch of 2/4s and 3/6s.
Mm-hmm.
And don't always have the correct answer for a 7/7 there. And I know we're doing a little bit of Talkstone here, guys, where it seems like there are global issues of BattleNet right now. So we are a slave to the technology that we were using. So it looks like there's some login problems with Hearthstone right now that both players are experiencing. I know I was experiencing this last night. Those playful sprites always seem to get you at the worst possible times. I mean, I just wanted to play Hearthstone, TJ. I just wanted to play a couple games. I even just birded some friends, just watch some games go on, see what everybody's playing, and see if anything new is out there. But alas, sometimes we just don't have the option.
Yep, very true.
Don't take my Hearthstone from me, TJ. Don't do it.
It's not my fault, man.
I'm blaming you. You're who I see. You're directly in front of me. It's the American way. I'm going to blame you.
I would never do that. I would never take away your Hearthstone. But yeah, hopefully we can get these issues resolved so these guys can continue on with the series. Of course, this is the final match of the day. Now these guys are playing this best of 7 in order to move on, continuing into the losers bracket finals, where Amnesiac waits for the winner of the losers bracket finals to see who's going to move out of the groups. And right now, Xixo has a pretty healthy lead right now with 2-1, but Neirea does have some pretty strong decks, as we've seen.
Yep, absolutely. It seems like these players are just kind of waiting it out as we are. So, what's been the biggest surprise and like your favorite moments so far from the tournament? I mean, we've cast quite a few games in the last few days, upwards of 30. So, besides Amnesiac, let's just put that on the side. The Amnesiac lineup was awesome. His matchup with Neirea was really sweet and cool. Anything else kind of like stood out to you?
I think just the sheer amount of control that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be a nod to the players, but there are some players who in the past have just played what's best. Seeing that control is sort of coming out on top. Aggro Shaman just,
stomp
every single game. And, even Zoo has been struggling so far over the course of the weekend. It's taken some Zoo-like wins. Over the course of the week, sorry. I keep thinking it's the weekend, but it's actually Tuesday and Wednesday. It's the middle of the week.
It's been a week's worth.
Yeah, so it's just cool to see. And, some of these control matchups are slower, but there are a lot of decision-making and intricacies that go into these types of decks. Now while we wait, we just get to watch Neirea eat one of the most beautiful experiences in competitive Hearthstone.
Watching the players wait and eat. Now, I know you're a veteran of Hearthstone. You've been around since practically day one, if not day one. Was there ever another time where Control was this popular and just this good?
Right at the end of Nax, the couple months before GVG, basically everybody was playing in a Conquest format, or in most formats, most people were playing Handlock, Control Warrior, and Priest. That was the standard three classes. So, it was a pretty crazy time. There wasn't very many strong aggro decks because Hunter was countered by Priest and Warrior, so you couldn't bring it to counter the Handlock. There was mid-range Hunters that popped up that tried to do things. Like Rogue was in a terrible spot, Shaman was non-existent, so it was basically all control decks. And so that was the last time that it happened, and that was actually a pretty stale meta, just because there wasn't as a wide variety of control decks. There was 3 control decks that were almost card for card identical, with Control Priest, Warlock, and Control Warrior. And so GVG did good in shaking things up a bit, but also brought along with it a lot of things that people didn't like for a long time, like Pilot Agenda and Dr. Boom. So the grass is always greener, but right now I think we're in a good spot. But while we're waiting for these guys to hopefully be able to log back in, I guess we can take a look at the road that we've seen over the course of the last couple days for Group A, and the road that these players have sort of taken to get where they are. Well, you're looking at the upper bracket right now, which has already been resolved. It's already been played out. We saw Kranich earlier in the day secure his spot in the next phase of the tournament, which means he secured his spot in the group stage that will lead directly to the main event of StarLadder. He defeated Amnesiac, who has moved down to the lower bracket. He will be waiting in the final decider match, you can see that there, to face the winner of Stanudachi and either Xixo or Neirea, so whoever wins that. And, of course, at the end of that all, which will be resolved all by Friday, I think will be the final matches for those, will determine the second player to move on from this Group A to make it to those group stages. So, pretty good run.
Mm-hmm. Amnesiac gets the 2 straight win-and-in matches. Definitely lost the one to Kranich earlier, and I think he felt a little bad about it afterwards. You saw on Twitter, he said he didn't play his best. He's still learning the decks that he brought here today. Shows you how novel his idea was, but I love the theory behind it. Mm-hmm. Kudos to him to bringing cool, innovative decks and lineups and stuff. But to kind of touch again on what you were saying earlier, it kind of made me sad because you're talking about how there was no Hunter at the time, and we're back into that spot where there's just no Hunter, and it feels like there's almost no really good aggressive decks. All of them have this weird variant that they can go to, and I think that's the only problem that I have with the meta right now. I think it's actually good and healthy for card games like this to have an aggressive deck, because then stuff gets shooken up a little bit. You don't just have these. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's sort of a rock paper scissors effect.
Yeah, and that's good. I like
because
that.
If more people start playing miracle decks, aggro decks are going to start to become more popular because aggro decks just steamroll miracle decks because they can't fight for board. So that's when aggro decks are going to be good, and there's still a lot of room for maneuvering. People are still in testing phases right now, and with a lot of big tournaments, really quickly after Standard is released, like DreamHack Austin, and the preliminaries for the Hearthstone Championship Tour for the Spring Championships.
Yeah,
I think a lot of players are afraid to take risks, and they're just practicing what they think is good right now and trying to master those decks, even if they're not 100% refined. So I think there's a lot of potential for aggro Paladin to be good. People just haven't realized what a good list is. There's also, I think, some potential with Hunter, but the thing about Hunter is they're inconsistent early game, I think, and they just don't have the impactful 1 and 2 drops that they once did. Rip Leopardome.
Yeah, really, really good points. I think you know this, I'm actually a big fan of Aggro Paladin right now. With these lineups these guys are bringing, I think Divine Favor is in one of the best spots it's ever been in. In Hearthstone, I mean, it's on average you draw 4 or 5 cards from it.
Yeah.
And to touch on the point that you brought up again there, you're talking about these players, they're kind of scared to take risks. And I understand that, you just want to give yourself the best chance to win all of your matches. But, something that some friends of mine and I, we tried out in a few events, when we play in big time events early when, because I was a Magic pro before I played Hearthstone. And, when we play in our big events, it'd always be right after a new set came out. So you'd have to break it. You'd have to figure it out. These 160 new cards, these 220 new cards are in the meta. What's good, what's not, what are other people going to play? And you have to bring it to a next level. Well, sometimes what we would do is we would just play the highest variance deck we could find. If we couldn't figure out the best deck, and sometimes the best deck isn't always the best deck because if everyone figures it out, then they can beat it. And if you have this high variance deck, it's this is the deck that's most likely to XO or OX, and I'm okay with either one. If I just get it completely wrong in this deck, that's fine. I missed, I'll just get it next time. But this has the best this deck or this lineup in Hearthstone has the best chance to just steamroll everyone, and you kind of saw Amnesiac do that. And it didn't work out in the last match with Kranich, but I love seeing players take that risk, and nothing against the guys who don't get me wrong. I think the way Xixo plays the game is amazing because he's one of the best technical players in the world. He plays super fast, super well, understands all of his matchups. And that's why he plays the decks that he does. It gives him the best chance to make the most decisions over the span of a match. And he's always going to choose right. He's always going to make the right decision, so it's the highest probability for him. So, I mean, there's definitely different schools of thought on it and what you can do. And it's like you said, I think we're just scratching the surface. So you're going to see some new stuff come up. And as soon as something new happens and someone wins a big event or does really well, let's say someone does something crazy in the prelims this weekend, which you're going to be covering, and you see some cool lineup of these cool new decks, as soon as something new like that happens, everything changes.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. And Xixo, I saw people talking in chat earlier, and someone was talking about like, oh, how Xixo piloted the Shaman deck to #1 legend, and someone said Xixo could pilot Angry Chicken Paladin to #1 legend.
Probably true.
The sheer amount of games that he plays, and of course the technical prowess that he has with a lot of decks. So, very true. And it looks like we're still waiting on these players to be able to log in. It looks like there has been some issues with Battle.net. I attempted to log in on the NA servers, and I had success, but I think these guys play on EU.
Yeah, I was going to say they're playing on EU. I'm actually talking with the admin right now. We're trying to figure out if we can move them over to NA.
Actually, just kidding. I just got kicked off of NA, so NA might be having some issues as well. Nobody on my friends list has been online for more than 5 minutes, so definitely have to see here. But yeah, we apologize for the delay. There's not really much we can do when things like this happen. We're just going to try and go through the solutions, try and find somewhere else that these guys can play, and try and finish these matches. At the moment, as you can see on the screen, Xixo does have a 2-1 lead in the series. It is a best of 7, so.
Yeah, sorry. I was checking to see if we could get on NA because we were gonna